Hey McBIC, I'm coming to you from my bedroom today because I want to talk about rest. This is a topic I chose not because the Lord gave me some grand revelation to share with you, but because it's something I haven't been doing very well, and it's a message that I need to hear for myself. Once we started working from home, it became very easy to work all day, every day, beyond the Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. Before, work life and home life existed in two separate spaces and separate times. And now my office, if we can call it that, is in my dining room. My emails and my projects are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And the line between work and home life has gotten very blurry, if that line is there at all. And because of the nature of my job in this season, with church moving online and us providing these daily devotionals for you, today, which is Saturday for me, I'm recording this ahead of time, is my first full day off since March 7th. And I don't say that to garner sympathy or pity from you or to brag about how busy I am, but just as a statement of fact and a confession that I have not been resting well. I had tried to establish the habit of observing a Sabbath before, this whole quarantine situation, and I feel like I've forgotten how to do that. I woke up this morning knowing that today was my first day off, and one of the first things I did was check my work email. And I'm recording this video for you today, and I feel like I've forgotten how to just rest and just be, to not feel like I need to be productive. And maybe you're in the same boat where work is accessible all the time, so you feel like you need to be working all the time. One thing that we have been talking about as a staff is this idea of margin, making sure that everyone in this season has enough time where nothing is scheduled, where they're not so busy that they're working themselves toward burnout. And I'm appreciative of that conversation, and it's been, process of figuring out, okay, how can I build margin into my schedule? And that idea of margin just reminds me of the past 10 years of my life before I came on staff at McBIC, and I was working as a graphic designer. And one of the principles in graphic design is this idea of margin or white space. And white space is, all the areas of the page where there aren't any photos or there aren't blocks of text. It's this idea that, the areas where there's nothing is just as important where there is content. That white space provides your eyes and your mind breathing room, the opportunity to process and not be overwhelmed by everything that you see. And we find that same principle in music where, the moments of rest where nothing is being played is just as important and has as significant an impact as when a whole symphony orchestra might be playing together. And we find this principle in the scripture as well. Aside from God's commandments to rest and stories where Jesus goes away from the crowds to be alone with his Father in prayer and in worship. But as we read through the Psalms, we come across the word Selah, which can be interpreted as an interlude or a pause. And a friend of mine who pastors a church in California, he recently recorded a podcast about the word Selah. And at the end of his podcast, he read Psalm 46 for his congregation. And I would like to do the same for you today. You might be multitasking while you're watching this video devotional. Maybe you are making dinner or finishing up paperwork. And I encourage you to take a pause. Maybe that means coming back to this video after you're finished making dinner or setting aside your paperwork, but providing yourself some time and space for you to get into a comfortable position, to quiet your hearts and your minds, to receive this text. So I encourage you, to get comfortable, maybe close your eyes. The words will appear on the screen if you would like to read along. But as I read Psalm 46 for you, I will be taking an extended pause where the text comes to the word Selah. And that pause might be uncomfortable for you if you're so used to just going. It might feel like we're taking such a long time to get through this reading. But I encourage you to, rest, to sit into and lean into this pause, this moment of quiet reflection. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, even though the earth be removed, and though the mountains be carried into the midst of the sea, though its waters roar and be troubled, though the mountains shake with its swelling. There is a river whose streams shall make glad the city of God, the holy place of the tabernacle of the Most High. God is in the midst of her. She shall not be moved. God shall help her just at the break of dawn. The nations raged, the kingdoms were moved. He uttered his voice, the earth melted. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Come, behold the works of the Lord, who has made desolations in the earth. He makes wars cease to the end of the earth. He breaks the bow and cuts the spear in two. He burns the chariot in the fire. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. McBIC, I pray that today and this week you will have the opportunity for rest. Maybe that will look like a quiet moment in your afternoon where you can take a deep breath, or reworking your schedule so that way you have a whole day set aside for Sabbath. Especially if you feel like you are busier now in the season than you were before. I pray that God will bless you with, opportunities to be still and know that He is God.